Good afternoon, everybody. Doc Dave here on episode number 41. This is a very interesting and educational podcast on a very common and devastating condition called opioid or fentanyl overdosing. So, fentanyl. What is fentanyl? It's a synthetic opioid, which is 50 times stronger than heroin, 50, not 15, and 100 times more potent than morphine. And why do people use it? Why do people like fentanyl? What's the attraction to it? Well, not only is it a painkiller, but it's a euphoria stimulant. So people get a little high from it. They get immediate pain relief. They think it's the best thing going. Problem is, if you get it unsolicited from, you don't get it from a pharmacy or your doctor, you just get it on the street or from a friend, you don't know the dosage, and since it's 100 times more powerful than morphine, you're going to overdose on it. So, even a speck, they say, smaller than a raindrop or a few grains of salt can kill you if it's potent, pure fentanyl. So this is not something to mess with. This is something to be used by physicians or even paramedics, but they need to know the dosages and they need to know how to counteract any overdose with this, which is what we're going to go into in a few minutes. So the other thing about fentanyl is it doesn't have any odor, doesn't have any taste, and it just makes the illicit drugs more powerful and more deadly. So you can't smell it, you can't taste it, so you don't know you're ingesting it, and there you go. That easy. So in California, interesting fact, ODs are the leading cause of death among people 25 to 50 years of age. The highest rate is 30 to 40. So young people in their 30s, in their 40s, up until their 50s, the number one cause of death in California is overdoses. So thank God for naloxone. Naloxone is Narcan, and that is the MVP antagonist for opioid overdoses and specifically fentanyl overdoses. It's a life-saving antidote to reverse the effects of opioid overdoses. It's simple to use as a nasal spray. It just comes in a little spray bottle like some of those Afrins or things that you spray into your nose. You just squeeze it into the nasal passage. It gets absorbed because the nasal mucosa is very rich in blood. It gets absorbed immediately into your system and works within seconds. It can completely reverse an opioid, a heroin, a morphine, and specifically a fentanyl overdose. Right on the scene. You get a hero badge for that if you're carrying it around and you happen to see somebody in an overdose scenario and you use it. Like I say, it's even carried by the paramedics now. It's obviously in the emergency room, and it's even over the counter. You can get it. You can go on the Walgreens and buy some over the counter. You do not need a prescription for this. You can even get it online, believe it or not. So there's no excuse for if you're in that scene where you got people, friends, or whatever that you know that are using illicit drugs, carry some around with you. It's not a pariah anymore. You look like a lifesaver if you have it with you. So, and it's safe. If the unconsciousness is due to a different disorder other than opioid overdose, it's not going to affect it. If it's like a hypoglycemic reaction, a seizure, a stroke, a heart attack, if you give Narcan, there's not going to be any danger by using it. They even have something now called fentanyl test strips. And if you're using the drug, you may want to, if you got some street drugs or some opioids that somebody gave you and you're conscientious enough, you can break it up and add some water to it to dissolve it, and put the test strip in there, and it'll say yes or no on it. No colorizations you got to remember, no stripes you got, is it one stripe, two stripe, that means anything. It'll just come up as a yes or no. Now, what are the symptoms of an opioid overdose? So you see somebody on the ground, okay, whatever, and they've got pinpoint pupils. First thing we look for, and when somebody comes into the emergency room and they're unconscious, we look at their pupils. If they got symmetrical pinpoint pupils, I mean pinpoint, and if they're drowsy or fall asleep or lethargic, or they have shallow respirations or cold, clammy skin, or limp limbs, or any kind of cyanosis of the limbs or skin, give them a shot of Narcan. You can't go wrong with it. It will not cause any side effects. It's the first thing we do. We check for, a finger stick as well to make sure your blood sugar is okay and your blood sugar is not like really low. Then you don't really need the Narcan. You pretty much got it figured out. You give them a shot of glucose, and that'll work as well. Now, what I said earlier about, not only can you get this over the counter and online now, but in California, there's something called a Good Samaritan law. And this protects any person, layperson, or anybody, friend, foe, whatever. It protects any helpful bystander who is performing any emergency relief to a person in any kinds of disorder. Motor vehicle accidents, overdoses, heart attacks, or doing CPR. You're not going to get sued by anybody if you cause any harm or damage to them, if you're trying your best to overcome an emergent condition. So what are other opioids? Okay, so we covered fentanyl. What are other ones? And some of these are pretty common. You're going to be surprised. Well, we all know morphine is one as well. And heroin. Heroin is the most addictive opioid, and it's the hardest to quit. So heroin is up there right below fentanyl, and fentanyl, again, is 50 times more potent than heroin. That just goes to show you how strong fentanyl is. Then you've got codeine. We all, understand what codeine is. We've had it before. Sometimes you even have it in cough syrup. You got oxycodone, which is like a Percocet. If you've had major pain injuries in the past, back pains or whatever, you've probably been exposed to Percocet, and that's an oxycodone. That's obviously an opioid, and you can't be taking alcohol with these as well because it just magnifies the effect. Hydrocodone is like Norco. Again, if you've had pain issues, you probably have had Norco in the past, and Vicodin, same condition. Methadone is one, and Tramadol is another opioid. So, what are the natural opioids? You actually have a natural opioid in your system that your body makes, and it's called endorphins, and they are the strongest natural painkillers. You go to the gym, you work out, you go on a big bike ride, you're releasing endorphins, and those endorphins will minimize any pain issues that you may have associated with any activities you're doing. So endorphins are the strongest natural painkillers. Now, other famous opioids, stuff that's, maybe you bought over the counter, maybe you get a prescription for, things like NyQuil, and, Robitussin. You pick up some Robitussin at the pharmacy. It's got some opioids in it. And Theraflu also, Vicks, Imodium, those are all opioids that you get exposed to on a less severe condition that you're just, you got a cold, you got the flu, you're taking some Theraflu, you're on NyQuil. These are the things you hear about athletes, that you go to the Olympics and some swimmer took some NyQuil the night before, some Theraflu, because he was feeling, a little odd, and he thought maybe he was getting a little sick, and he didn't know, he didn't understand. He gets tested the next day before the race, boom, test is positive, he gets expelled from the race. Now, a spice that is the best painkiller in a spice form, cooking spices, is turmeric. Turmeric is a very effective painkiller. So, they always say anti-inflammatories, take some turmeric. If you're not feeling well, you're achy painy, you come from the gym, you're sore, you develop some tendonitis, bursitis, there you go. The safest painkiller you can take, that's a pharmaceutical painkiller, is Tylenol. And it's the best for elderly people as well. So, Tylenol, just something, everybody has it around the house. So it's something that you should, always have available. You got to be careful with Tylenol, though, because it does affect the liver if it's used too often. So you don't want to be gobbling down, 8 or 10 Tylenols a day, because it's very dangerous. It's a hepatocellular liver. It can destroy your liver cells. So manage your Tylenol well, but it's relatively safe to take, and you can keep that in your cabinet anytime you need. So hopefully this was helpful and very, educational. And this is something definitely you want to share with friends and family. And, something obviously you need to be aware of yourself. And I hope you enjoyed it. You like it, hit the like button, keep subscribing, that you'll be notified about my next upcoming podcasts, which are very user-friendly podcasts. And thank you for your time, and we'll talk soon. Remember, last thing, I am your friend, not your doctor. Thank you very much.